A Vietnamese man captured an American. He was dragged by his hair, unable to resist. The American was clearly taller than the Vietnamese man, yet he could only lower his head and bend his back. Because this was Vietnam in 1966, and here, perhaps only submission could guarantee survival. He was taken to a village in Laos. Facing the villagers, he maintained a forced smile, because he firmly believed that you shouldn't hit someone who's smiling. A reality slapped him in the face. The Vietnamese man ordered him to sit down, and he obediently sat down. He was told to lie down, and he obediently lay down. Then he was tied up by the Vietnamese man and left to bake in the scorching sun. He said he needed to defecate, but no one understood him. Finally, he soiled his pants, but no one gave him a change of clothes. Then his feet were tied with ropes, and he was dragged by an ox. They even kicked dirt in his face. He struggled desperately on the ground, but to no avail. The man was a pilot, performing a mission over Vietnam, but his plane was shot down by the Vietnamese, and he crashed into the Vietnamese rainforest. Inside the prison, there were many pilots like him. They had all been shot down in Vietnam and captured, becoming prisoners of war. The longest imprisonment was over 2 years. Looking at this emaciated, long-haired pilot, you could tell life here was unbearable. Their only hope was for an end to the fighting, hoping the government would negotiate their freedom. They endured this hardship, and it seemed even their mental health was being damaged. For example, this long-haired pilot, sleeping was the hardest part for them. Their hands were crossed and their feet were tightly bound, making it impossible for them to turn over. Adding to the difficulty was the poor food. One man suffered from diarrhea every night. A careful fellow inmate counted 2207 times. The pilot couldn't take it anymore and wanted to escape. After observing for several days, he discovered that the prison had no walls, only fences, and the guards were weak, making escape relatively easy. But his fellow inmates told him that the prison itself wasn't scary. What was scary was the rain outside. The forest was a true prison. No water, no food, no hope of survival. Guards were there during the day, and handcuffs at night. How could they escape? He said all they needed was a nail, but the only nail in the entire prison was in the guard's shed. The protagonist had his fellow inmates scatter to distract the guards. Finally, only a friendly little giant remained in the shed. The protagonist went over, pretending to ask for toothpaste to brush his teeth. He brushed his teeth with one hand and pulled out the nail with the other. That's how he got the nail. Back in his cell, he sharpened the nail, eventually turning it into a steel needle. That night, he used the needle to pry open the handcuffs. Finally, everyone could get some sleep. The handcuff problem was solved, but where would they get water and food? The man had a bold idea: wait for the rain. He would use the rain to escape into the jungle. The rainy season was still 5 months away. In those 5 months, he needed to prepare enough food. But here, they only ate scraps every day. Where would they get food?